such a great privilege and joy to be in this program with you and to share this identity program. You know, we've danced together, or we've done tours together, and to be on a bill together and to celebrate the Australian dance landscape and where it is today, where we've come from, this collaboration. And even though we've been rehearsing opposite each other, and
because it was the only way we could do it.
Yeah, we haven't had this opportunity until now.
No.
You know, it's just been so beautiful to watch. Firstly, the way that the energy, the injection of ADT, their energy, not just with your cast of people, but the beautiful energy they've brought to the entire company and all of the dancers. And to share the studios with you guys, which is the first time that that's ever happened. And we've seen each other on different stages and, you know, gotten to certain shows, but we're, you know, always touring in different paths. And so to do this has been such a privilege for me to share a bill with one of my heroes.
Oh, thanks.
So,
like you said, like it's really, we've toured the world and we've performed, we've shared stages and like shared friendship groups, all of that. Like, the fact that we can be doing this is really special. You know, and in celebration of something so iconic that the Australian Ballet being 60, you know, is really remarkable. And like for me too, being able to lead ADT in this way, like in this kind of way that's deeply grounded and rooted in the Australian identity every day. You know, being the first First Nations Artistic Director of ADT, I get to do that naturally. That's just the way I go about my day. You know, I think about all the work and all the perspectives and what we want to say through my cultural Wiradjuri First Nations lens.
I've got a question for you.
Sure.
How did you approach collaborating with Australian ballet dancers and ADT and develop a language with them both? Was it something that, you know, it's a dialogue you created between the two companies? Yeah,
it really came out of, the first kind of step is conversation.
Yep.
And then we moved into improvisations and tasking. And then we just kind of kept playing. We played a lot of theatre games, like a lot of using our voice. No.
Yeah, so people would have been
using vocals, playing, you know, all sorts of kind of a range of theatre games, getting people to think differently.
Yeah.
You know, to think not so, I guess, square, but thinking round. How do we think holistically when we're making work? And that idea of tasking and improvisation and theatre games is not something that's practiced daily for ballet dancers, right? Like, so it was really fun. And I could tell it was hard. You know, like those first few days in Adelaide, there was, resistance is a strong word, but there was like a really kind of strong will to want to do it, but it took them a couple of days to actually just release and let go, you know? And then from there, once everybody was on the same page of kind of self-empowerment, the work just took off. How was it working with your icons? I want to say idols, but I don't know who your idols are, but like, you know,
all of them.
The idols of the Australian Ballet, right? Like David McAllister, Maddie, Stephen Heathcote, like, you know, they're people who I saw dance on stage. I shared the stage with a couple of them, but like, you know, it's pretty remarkable to have them all share space at the same time.
I think what was really nice for them as well is that as former principals, you are usually alternating nights. So your leads, and you're not on every night. So to have them all on stage at the same time was, you know, not something they would have done in their careers anyway.
No.
But yeah, look, it was such a privilege and honour. And a little intimidating at first. Obviously, they're my heroes and mentors, and you know, I started dancing because I had them on VHS. You know, watched them growing up, and to be on the other side and having, you know, David as director, and then to be directing him on movement was such a beautiful exchange. Yeah. Because, you know, I've sat in the studio and watched their journeys, and that's been such a privilege to witness throughout my career. And then for them to trust me in movement, you know, I wanted to make them feel confident and comfortable, and they knew that I wasn't going to give them, you know, unrealistic steps. So it was a conversation, and it was about how to help them feel their best selves on stage, and that storytelling. And so, you know, they've got so many wonderful stories of the history, and to be able to share that with the current company, and that exchange between the current company and those artists was really beautiful. And the support and compassion, you know, the respect and inspiration, you know, of having these icons in the studio for the younger company, and, you know, people in their 60s and 50s and 40s, and their generosity of selves and their artistry, and you know, they worked so hard. It would have been so intimidating after 20 years for some of them coming
to
back.
step back into a studio and put a hand on a bar and have to, you know, do class.
Yeah, let alone under the limelight with the current company.
Yeah,
the anniversary
that's
year.
right. But you make a good point though, like around